So welcome to this fan club of 2 words. And it's a lot more than 2 words, hey? But 2 words that so resonate with me and I have found so personally helpful, that come from Patrul Rinpoche's self-liberating meditation. And I'm going to put right here in the comments and in the links when this gets posted, and maybe as a recording, 2 links. One is to Samaneri JSR's Insight Timer link, and the other is more specifically to her reading of this meditation text, this guidance. And really it was by listening to her and her voice and her meaningfulness of it that made these words have a deeper feelingfulness for me. And so highly, highly recommend going to the source, listening to this meditation delivered by Samaneri JSR, and being open to your own experience of it, and see whether you'd like to join the fan club, which is that for many of you who have, are coming back, you have probably seen a trend in what I share here. That it's how we can help ourselves get out of our own way and less try. That actually a lot of our trying is what blocks us from let's just say our true nature. And the experience of our nature as it is, as it always is. And one of the things that has been really impactful for me in my journey through some of this is that for many years I was trying my best to follow Buddhist wisdom. And then I met Tai Chi master, Wanshul Park, who's also a physicist. And for those of you who piecing together the puzzle pieces here, Tai Chi is a Taoist martial art, so it's steeped in the Taoist tradition, and especially the way Master Park was conveying it. Even his school is called the Wu Wei Tai Chi School. Wu Wei is a Taoist principle, literally can be translated not doing, but it's that sense of not interfering in the Tao, in the way of nature, which includes the way of our own nature. And just as context, because this is where the source spring of my appreciation for not trying and ways we can both practice and cut through some of the methods and techniques that we can get wrapped up in, and they are there to help us, realize another level of our true nature. And yet it can be another whole game of trying. And so, like, for example, for me, when I first was meditating, when I first began with Wanshell Park, like if I just would, try and do basic mindfulness of breathing, I had so much anxiety in my whole system that I would feel like I couldn't breathe. So there was such a tendency for me to over try, even with breath, just over control or try too hard with anything that I was given. That one of the things that first opened up for me was to actually do meditation with a sense of connection with the earth, with a sense of my feet on the ground, or just lying down, my body on the ground. And so one of the things that I have come to feel in my own experience is that something as simple as lying on the ground, and we're going to be lying on the ground quite a bit today. It's so basic. It's so obvious. It's, the opposite of what, might be the ultimate, Dzogchen realization and these kinds of things. And it gives me a starting place. It gives me a starting place where I can know that nature is there, pretty much. The ground is going to hold me up. As much weight as I give it, the ground's going to hold me up. So I can lay down into the support of the ground. I can lay down into the support of the ground. And it's not a doing. The ground is already supporting me up. I don't have to search for the ground that supports me up. I don't have to make and create the ground that's holding me up. I don't have to go to a special place for this to happen. I don't have to work hard for this to happen. I just get out of my own way and appreciate and feel and simply settle into the support of the ground that's there. Now let me just read a passage from Pacho Rinpoche's self-liberating meditation. You don't need to buy it. You don't need to create it. You don't need to go someplace else in search of it. Nor do you need to work for it. It is enough to simply settle in an experience of whatever is arising or taking place in the mind. It is enough to simply settle into whatever is arising. Whether what is arising is desirable, undesirable, he says simply settle upon that arising. without altering it. And of course, he's talking about at the level of mind, the nature of mind. And as I said, fair warning, I do not know what the nature of mind is. I don't know what it would be to simply settle directly into it. But as part of a fan club, what I recognize is that I get a taste of what simply settle can mean when I literally just simply settle onto the ground. And then experientially, that lets me have some felt sense of what that can be like. So that when an emotion or thoughts or doubts or searching or anything arises in my experience, I have some sense of what that simply settling directly into it without trying to alter it in any way might mean. And so this is what we can explore here together in this series, where we'll spend, as promised, a lot of time lying on the ground here today and seeing what it's like to less approach practice as, well, let me use Patrul Rinpoche's own words. Don't try to adjust or improve or block or cultivate anything. I mean, just for a moment, like, think about all of the practices that we tend to do and the many ways we approach meditation and practice. Don't try to adjust or improve or block or cultivate anything. So what is what is practice then? What is it that we're going to do? And again, I don't claim to have the answer. But I do know that my best shot of having an inkling of what that could mean is to do it in a very simple situation first. Simple example first. So what would it be like as we lie on the ground to not try to adjust or improve or block or cultivate anything, but to simply settle into the support of the ground that's there? As Patrul Rinpoche says, allow whatever occurs to unfold and settle into it directly. So let's say that Earth's gravity and Earth's support, let's just take that as the example of what's unfolding. And that we don't have to buy that, make that, work for it, create that, cultivate it, block it out, adjust or improve upon it. It's just going on. And all that's left for us is to simply settle directly into that experience of it already going on. So shall we have some exploratory fun with this? Let's first begin. Let's begin in sitting, unless you want to adjust and be comfortable in any way that works for you. So you can tell we're not preferencing sitting over lying down. We're actually heading towards completely lying down. But I do tend to go through just a foundation practice that, yes, helps me to simply settle, to help me to feel support of the earth in that sense. And also kind of hones in my sense of the more refined feeling of experience. And then spreads that more into the rest of the body. And then from there, and we'll interweave more of the settling into things throughout the foundations. But that gives a just, I mean, selfishly, practically, that helps me so that when I go into this adventure more in the second half of what more fully does it mean to simply settle upon the earth, then I'm just more primed to be able to feel the way of nature just as it is. And for these sessions, you're welcome to, it's always up to you what you want to try, but you might find it interesting to practice with eyes open as a little bit of a different approach to meditation. That gaze can be soft, and that can just, in a way, help us feel that it's not a special inward stance, it's not a special state that we're cultivating in our mind. We don't have to close our eyes. All of living, all of life, well, that made me jump. I don't know if you heard that. All of life can be this meditation. And beginning with a few full deep breaths. And letting us feel more fully into the out breath. The releasing sense. Letting go. That naturally happens as we let the air go out of our body. And already begin to feel some of the seriousness of meditation sneak in. Let's just joggle our shoulders and shake our hands. However feels good for you, feel free to be on the side of a kid, just having some fun. Get the wiggles out, and then just drop. And let the shoulders simply settle into their lowest resting place. Let them rest with the weight of your arms. And taking a few more out breaths just to see if there's some pockets. Propping up pockets in your shoulders that are kind of insisting, no, there's something more you need to do here to hold your shoulders up. They can't just rest on your torso. And then beginning to gently notice that your hands are already laying down to the support of your lap. And just becoming curious. It's actually interesting from this perspective to feel into the subtlety of tension, holding, even a vague sense of needing to do something in your hands. And for the next couple of out breaths, inviting the hands to simply settle directly into the support of your lap. And can help to pair that kind of peeling back and letting go of settling with the out breath, with that sense of letting go. Like even as I sit here with each out breath, there's a felt a percentage more of settling, of appreciating the fullness of the support, holding my hands, that helps them release unnecessary holding or tension. So that they feel heavier. And then I have even more of a felt sense of the support that's meeting that heaviness. And even just with hands and lap like this, I could spend the whole rest of the hour just peeling back extra layers. But we won't go that extreme. We'll do it for all of our body more as we lie down. As part of this exploration, I think you might be getting the gist here that we can feel this for what it is And we can also explore it as this metaphor that is experiential. So now just imagine that someone told you that it's very important for good posture and good health and being a good person that your hands are fully in contact with your legs as you sit. That's part of what's going to make you a good meditator and a good, just a good person, right? And that you should do that. There should be a fullness of contact and connection between your hands and your lap, and approach it as something that you need to do. Maybe there's even a tendency to press with your hands down into the lap a bit to make sure, to make it happen, to do enough. And it can be subtle. And probably even exploring it at a subtle level might be more revealing. Certainly when we work with mind, it's very subtle. And probably next session we'll explore this more with the sense of rooting in Tai Chi. But just notice if some extra tension and a sense of doing has crept into your hands. That there's something here to cultivate, keep up, that how it was before wasn't enough and you needed to alter it in some way. And then what might someone say to help you less feel that pressure? Without altering or manipulating your hands in any way, just let them rest by themselves and settle into the support of the lap as that interaction unfolds. It is enough to simply settle in this experience of hands resting upon lap. As it is. As it's already going on. And notice how the hands feel when they can simply settle. and how hands and lap feel together in that uncontrived immediacy of just how they are naturally, already, and always. Mutual flow of lay down and support going on without anything needed from us. Maybe we have some felt sense, a flavor, a taste, what simply settle can mean between hands and lap. And just going ahead and opening to the possibility that that's also happening between your seat and the ground already, with nothing extra or special needed from you. In this moment, you can't make yourself have more gravity, can't make the earth have more support, can't change the way of nature of mutual flow. Where nothing's one-sided. The forces always are met by an equal and opposite force in the same instant. Weight of body going down, support of the ground coming up. Already. And as we sit, we're probably feeling very likely, and I count myself amongst it even after 10 years of practice doing this kind of thing. Highly likely, we're feeling only a fraction of that mutual flow. That mutual flow of nature, us and the ground. And so beginning to feel the breath and the releasing sense of the out breath. And yeah, we practice. It's like laying down the burden of our weight more fully to the earth on the out breath. Sense of letting go, giving the earth our weight. Peeling back the layers of extra tension, or sense like we have to hold ourselves up by ourselves. And with the language that I'm using here as prompts, giving your weight to the earth, lay down more fully. It sounds like there's something you need to do. But as Master Park says, it's already laid down reality. So actually all of my prompts are not about a special doing or cultivating or altering. It's just simply settle into what is the nature of your body and the ground in this moment. And that's it. It is enough to simply settle in an experience of whatever is arising. Seat and ground, hands and lap, shoulders, torso, every little place to every other little place, all simply settling in this mutual flow. And that, what I threw in there, every little place to every other little place. We started with big chunks in body and ground. But it's happening in every little interaction of interbeing. So let's begin to hone in on the fineness of how nature flows, that it's not clunky, that it's not big chunks laying down to other big chunks. Well, that's there, but the big chunks are all made up of little chunks. And for this, we usually just begin to feel the flow of the breath at the nose. The breath flowing in, and just quite literally that flow of air passing out again. And just becoming a little bit curious about what's the finest flow of air we can feel right in the space inside our nose. We think we've got it. That's it. That's the finest flow. Just opening in the next instant. See if it dissolves into an even finer, subtler sensation. And for today, this will just be a gentle warm up to how there's not a limit, not a chunky limit to how finely we can feel, or to the flow of nature itself. And now beginning to follow that free flow all the way down inside, right into the middle of us. And as we breathe out, just noticing the movement of the torso, front body, back body, side body. And then again, breathing in the fine free flow of air coming in. And then maybe not so very different, the fine free flow of the body as we breathe out. May like as you breathe out to kind of feel the wave-like emotion, like a cascading wave down the body. And whether or not there is a finest flow you can feel in that wave-like motion. Perhaps observing it first in the front body, and maybe noticing the subtle movement from the armpits to the lower ribs at the side. Maybe feeling the ripple-like motions along your spine, from your shoulders all the way to your sit bones. And why is your head where it is in space right now? Because it's simply settling upon what's beneath. And every layer of your spine and body is simply settling onto what's beneath. Till we reach the end of our body and what's beneath is the ground. So what was two seemingly chunks, body and ground, laying down, dissolves into this multitude of every layer of our body laying down to what's beneath, all down our spine. And how there's no limit how finely those layers are interacting, interbeing, simply settling one to the other. Now let's bring this down into a position where we might find we can more fully feel this laying down, this laid down reality. And follow the guidance of simply settle. So no big surprise. Let's come to laying down to feel. How might we feel more fully a sense of how nature is already going on, it's already arising, that our body has weight, and that the earth, with action reaction, is going to 100% match our weight upon the ground. So just settling in, as they say, to this position of our body. Perhaps having the arms out to the side. It just can help the upper back feel a little more laid down. It can help to put a bolster underneath your knees to help the pelvis more comfortably lay down without putting tension or overarching in your spine. And the feet can just flop open under their own weight. And if it's already laid down reality, the way of nature is that this is already going on fully. And what is there for us to do? If we scan our body, we might find some extra doing that's just not really needed. Just even starting with the head, our very heavy head. Are we really allowing the earth to hold the heaviness of our head? Since it is. Or do we find some extra doing, extra tension, holding, gripping? That is just not really needed. There's a bit of nuance here because we can always treat relaxing as a doing. Oh, now I've got to relax my head. I need to cultivate relaxation. And instead, what would it be like to let yourself feel how the earth is already supporting up your head? and to simply settle into that support, into that way it is. And notice how that feels. And then coming down to the shoulders. So many ways we introduce extra tension, holding pattern, a sense of needing to keep it together, keep ourselves going there in our shoulders. The shoulders are a kind of interesting place because like, well, where is that final resting place? Should I roll my shoulders more back? Should I change the position of my arms? Shoulds can creep in really easily. Just with a slightly more complicated joint like the shoulder. And just dropping any sense of good posture or chest open or any sense of how you think it should be. And feel more into that micro free flow. That refined, subtle movement, ripples from the breath that travel through your shoulders, your shoulder blades, your upper back. And allow what is in contact with the earth to reveal itself as this finer free flow. And just let every piece simply settle as it will, without any particular control or direction of a should. And beginning to extend this down the length of both arms. till we reach again our hands, now resting upon the ground. And simply settle the arms down to the hands. And what's the felt experience of that in your hands here? And for a moment, slightly spread all the fingers. And feel the space in between all your fingers. And the space that the hands are holding from the palm center. And the space at the end of each fingertip. Maybe feel as though you can breathe in and out of each fingertip. And then allow the hands again to simply settle. Perhaps noticing how the more we allow ourselves to feel our fingers in their fine free flow, the richer the feeling of the hands simply settling can be. Not just the idea of hand, an idea of the ground, but really the direct and immediate feeling of all those sensations in space. All those parts and particles of our hand all participating in this laying down. Now, what if our feet, way down there, our feet and our toes could feel like our hands and our fingers? You may like to spread the toes or wiggle the toes just a little bit. They like to feel as though you're breathing in and out of your toe tips. And then just allow the feet to be floppy and the heels to be heavy. Just notice the absurdity of my own language. How do you allow your feet to be heavy? They have the weight that they have. They're drawn to the earth whether you allow it or not. Nothing to do, nothing even to allow. But our feet can simply settle directly into the support of the earth. Without us trying to do extra, or without us trying to pretend like it's not so. Feet and hands, all simply settling all together. Just like the arms are resting and laying down their burden to the earth, from the shoulders to the fingertips. What would it be like to feel the length of the legs from the hips to the toe tips? Also, laying down into support, already laid down into support. So that all there is for us is to simply settle directly into that way of nature, way of lay down and support. And that is it. All of you, all the physicality of you, simply settling directly into the nature of mutual flow. You and the ground and you, without trying to alter it in any way. Because that interaction is not something you alter. It's not up to you. It's just the way nature is. All your physical being simply settle directly into earth support. And that is it. And what's the felt sense of this physically? And what is the felt sense of simply settle into the very nature of what is? That's not up to us. In this one case of it, the mutual flow of physical body and physical earth. It's just two words. What could they mean? And perhaps instead of coming up with an answer, seeing what is the felt and experiential response you can feel into that might be prompted by these words. Simply settle. And this completes our exploration. I might just like to linger here a bit. And gradually begin to move maybe your toes, maybe your fingers. Maybe go in for a juicy stretch. Or just stay where you are, up to you. And for those of us here together live, we can share about what our experience was like, what we discovered about these words, or anything that resonated for us. And I know I quoted Pacho Rinpoche quite a bit in the beginning, and I do just want to give those links again. So these are 2 links again. This is Pacho Rinpoche fandom here. Not to make light of a very esteemed and venerable Rinpoche. But I also feel like it was the reading of his self-liberating meditation by Samaneri Jayasara And she is here on Insight Timer, and this meditation that she reads aloud is one of her free tracks here on Insight Timer. So do enjoy those links. I cannot begin to do it justice. And if you continue in these series of fandom explorations, I think if you listen to the full self-liberating meditation by Patrul Rinpoche. Oh, Teresa's saying, where are the links? You're not seeing them? Are you seeing them? David said you already listened to them. Yeah, I think they'll give you a further context for some of these explorations, and we will be picking out certain quotes and certain aspects of his words and his guidance, and continuing to evolve. What could this simply subtle mean experientially? We did it lying down here. Probably we'll begin to do it a little bit standing up next time, and then also beginning to simply settle into other aspects of experience that are not just so literally. That's what I said, right, in the description. I quite literally needed the support of the ground with my anxiety to simply settle. What's the most obvious, evident, least tryingful way I can, connect with some comfort, some support? Well, that's it right there. So we'll also do, what is it like to simply settle into, that free flow, for example, of nature, or simply settle into the wholeness of everything arising. Those are more like unconditional ways that we can be like, okay, that's the way of nature. We can simply settle directly into that. It's not up to us. And then maybe it kind of gives us this further versatility, so that it's like, well, what would it be like to simply settle directly into any experience? Because that's a lot of what Patrul Rinpoche is pointing towards, to simply settle into any experience, especially the nature of mind, whatever is happening in the mind. So let me see what questions or comments we have here. I'm going to scroll up to the beginning. People saying hi, thanks so much. Cara, Swiss, Vagabond, David, Donna, great to see you back. All of life can be this meditation. Yeah. And if you did it with eyes open, you can make a comment about that in certain practices of meditation. It's actually a key part of meditation that is eyes opened, given what their view is. Carla, hi. Vagabond, hey. Teresa, where are the links? So let me know if you're coming through with the links. I don't know. I've posted them 3 times. Not seeing. Oh no, not seeing the links. Maybe Insight Timer has some kind of a block on links. So I'm just gonna say, search on Insight Timer Sama Neri J Sara. And you can search for, I better spell it right. Okay. Oh, that's a clever idea. So if you go to Samaneri JSR on Insight Timer, and let me see, this is, so if you go to insighttimer.com/Samaneri JSR guided meditations, Dzogchen meditation, guided Patrul Rinpoche, that will take you. She does. I am such a fan of listening to her, and of the many ones. She also has more. I should only say things that she has on Insight Timer, but yes, she's amazing. Yes, Bhagwan's like, yeah, you guys are troubleshooting for me. You guys are looking out for me. We're a team. Thank you. So the names and such are in the description of the live events, so you can also find them there in the live events. Awesome. All right. Emily, great to see you back. I will definitely be looking for the tracks to listen to. Miss, hi, back again. Oh, can you still hear me? Okay. Matt, there's a helpful hint about the making the links incomplete. Let's see. Therese, thank you. Firefly, love this. Thanks for sharing. Looking forward to checking out her work. David says, I can hear you just fine. Yes. You can tell me how you would like me to pronounce your Ms. if you'd like. Spell it out phonetically for me. Yeah. Doing the best I can here. Miss, okay. All right. All right. Sounds good. Thank you. So I'll just leave it for this. For here for now. And maybe it's just kind of an open question of putting it in the back of your mind. What would it be to simply settle into the very nature of the one who's worried, of the one who doubts, of the one who is trying so very hard? And how, if that's our view of what practice is, like what Patrul Rinpoche talks about, it can become very simple. I'm really glad to have the support of this team for learning and practicing how to settle. Yeah, me too. Let me see if there's anyone up here that I was not multitasking looking up as I was. We have quite a few new people here as well too. I think Donna, you said hi earlier. And Andrew, great to see you back. And all the people who share in the comments, I really do appreciate it. Yes, welcome. Welcome all. Ah, Mary, good to see you with the cutest German Shepherd ever. And Marta, I thought I saw you. Yeah, wonderful. Yeah. Well, I'm sorry if I missed anyone, and we'll be back. I think it's this Thursday for more fandom of Simply Settle. Till then, take care. Oh, one more thing. I'm heading to bed very soon, and I'm so relaxed. When I first started meditating, I found myself trying to do it right without realizing that I could just be. And it would happen as it was going to. Yeah. Right? One of the things that this can reveal is how much we are trying, how much we're trying to get it right, and to actually discover that in a really straightforward example that then can become the model for what it might be like in other ways. And for sure, this is a great one for right before bed. So relaxing all the extra tension and holding from your body can naturally be a wonderful way to head to bed. All right. Well, rest well, whether it's happening soon or happening in a bit. And take care. Take care all.